can play guitar. Just look at me. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. First I grab myself a chord, working from the sky to the ground. Then I grab another chord to make a good sound. Then I work another chord for what's called a turnaround. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Now if you bought that game, you plug in the TV, you know the one that makes you look like a player like me. Remember, TVs are for movies and news. Just watch me. You'll learn how to play the blues. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. By the way, the music spirit lingers. You want to learn how to work your fingers. If you're interested, patience is a key. You'll play guitar just like me. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say. Just watch me and see. Okay, welcome back to Anybody Can Play Guitar. We're gonna discuss the guy that they call father of the modern Spanish guitar. Hey, like I said, welcome back. Peace to all those who enter here. Got that? Hey, anybody can play guitar. Here's another guitar hero. Not a player, much, but known as father of the modern Spanish guitar. Antonio de Torres Jurado was born June 13, 1817 in Almeria, Andalusia, Spain, and died November 19, 1892. He was a Spanish luthier and is called the most important Spanish guitar maker of the 19th century. It is with his designs that the first recognizably modern acoustic and classical guitars are to be seen. Most acoustic guitars in use today are derivatives of his designs. There is some debate who taught Torres. One theory is that sometime around 1842, Torres may have gone to work for Jose Pernas in Granada, rapidly learning to build guitars. He soon returned to Seville and opened a shop on the Calle de Cerraguera, number 7, that he shared with Manuel Soto y Solares. Although he made some guitars during the 1840s, it was not until the 1850s, on the advice of the renowned guitarist and composer Julian Arcas, that Torres made it his profession, and he began building guitars in earnest. Julian Arcas offered Torres advice on building, and their collaboration turned into an inveterate investigator of the guitar's construction. Torres reasoned the soundboard was key. Okay? To increase its volume, his guitars not only larger, but fitted them thinner, hence lighter soundboards. They were arched in both directions, made possible by a system of fan bracing for strength. And as you might notice, the fan bracing, if you look inside of the guitar, the fan bracing, sometimes, you know, there's little differences. It all depends how snooty or finicky the guy is building it. These bracing struts were laid out geometrically based on two isosceles joined at their base, creating a kite shape within which the struts were set out symmetrically. While Torres was not the first to use this method, he was the one who perfected the symmetrical design. During his later years, Torres made it a point that the top of the guitar made a big difference in volume and sound quality. By his own personal experiments, he followed through with everything. He met Francisco Tárrega and sold one of his guitars to the same guy just mentioned. Now, other people that made guitars were Martin, Hohner, and National in the early 1900s or late 1800s. And mainly in America, there was the Martin and the Hohner, you know, cowboy guitars. So we're going to go on with them later, but this guy was called Antonio de Torres Jurado. Follow his picture, look him up in Google. He's the man for that. So anybody can play guitar. I've mentioned this person before, and his name is Marco Aurelio Felice Filippo Maria Pietro de Ferranti Zani. In other words, Zani di Ferranti. Rock star from 1845 till whenever he died. So we're going to go over him in a minute and tell his whole story. He was a rock star of his time, lived the life of a rock star and everything. He had his times and people enjoyed it. Zani di Ferranti was born in Bologna, Italy, December 23rd, 1801. He toured France, England, and Italy, and was probably the first guitarist from Europe to tour the United States. He toured and visited 67 North American cities between 1846 and 1850 with a violin player named Camillo Sivori, the only known pupil of Niccolo Paganini. Now, you know, Niccolo Paganini back then was the most colorful rock god or rock star of his time then, so they really had something jumping off there. So we're going to continue in a minute. I'm going to tell you all about it. Listen to this. In 1803, when Marco was not yet 2 years old, his mother died and his father had to leave Italy. It is only recently that the real story has been discovered. His father killed his mother while she was pregnant in a jealous madness by stabbing her 46 times. Marco, in the absence of his father, was presumably brought up by his grandmother. When old enough, he was sent away to school in Lucca in Tuscany. He first learned the violin and was said to show great talent. He found that he wasn't very good on violin and that guitar was more interesting. How's that sound? Anybody can play guitar? He went to hear Paganini play. He went to hear Paganini play and he thought he was going to play violin, and Paganini played guitar that night because he was also a guitar player, and determined that he would learn to play like him, starting guitar lessons immediately. Later in his teens, he decided guitar had more pulling power, just like today's young males. At age 19, Marco decided he was good enough and went to Paris, beginning his rock star-like career. Okay, speaking of being upset, listen to this. Marco was involved in underground politics for many years. He supported the formation of a free state of Italy, the Risorgimento. This frequently got him into trouble at one point. He was sentenced, they gave him a sentence to banishment in Siberia. He was saved and smuggled over the border to Scandinavia for a while, and he was persona non grata in most European countries. Okay? Listen to this. Getting married was convenient. It gave him right to live in the Netherlands. He married one of his music students that he called Julie. She was the daughter of a painting merchant, a guy that sold paintings, originally from Giel near Antwerp. They produced 2 children, Caesar and George. Then there was Jules, who was said to be illegitimate. How's that? Once again, listen to this. During the revolt of 1830 in Brussels, in which the Belgians fought for the independence of Holland, Marco sided with the Belgians. Maybe it was those Brussels sprouts, huh? Okay. In 1831, this was granted, shortly followed by similar events in France. When Charles X was overthrown, Marco was then again able to enter most European countries again. Marco needed to settle down a bit and provide for his family. In 1834, he was appointed to the Royal Conservatoire of Brussels as a professor, in Italian now. Later in that year, he was appointed guitarist to the king by King Leopold of Saxe-Coburg. Saxe-Coburg, look that up. Sadly, Julie became mentally ill and died in 1851. Now, Mr. Ferranti had a lot of setbacks and hardships. It was like he was living the blues, okay? By the way, learn how to play blues faster. Only anybody can play guitar. Learn things that your musician friends probably don't know themselves. Only anybody can play guitar. Okay, let's move along right here. Marco, like many modern day rock stars, was a womanizer and had numerous affairs. In 1855, age 54, he married again to a 20-year-old music student, had a child that died the same year, with the new wife dying in 1856. Marco was devastated. Like I said, he's living a life of the blues, huh? At one time or another, he had a decline in financial difficulty. He was praised by Hector Berlioz, Rossini, and Paganini. In 1834, Niccolo Paganini heard Ferranti play and wrote this: "I have heard to my great satisfaction compositions for the guitar executed by Signor Ferranti with the greatest clarity, and expression. And I affirm that the said artist is superior to all other celebrities of the kind I have heard in Europe. Can I say that again? I affirm that the said artist is superior to all other celebrities of the kind and have heard in Europe. He was made a Chevalier de la Couronne, Order of the Oak Tree, in 1876, awarded by William II of the Netherlands. This was sometimes given to foreigners for outstanding artistic success. Ferranti made extensive use of glissando, sliding up the neck. Sliding is called glissando in Italian. This technique allowed him to sing the guitar, a quality of which many reviewers commented. In his compositions, Ferranti pointed to glissando with a connecting line and the vibrato with a wavy line. Okay? Actually, he used his thumb. Somewhere in there, I'm going to read, he used his thumb, like Richie Havens. Richie Havens holding his thumb down or something. Okay? In addition, he used the bar with each finger as well as his thumb to stop the bass strings. His need for sound beauty was not compatible with the use of nails, and therefore he put the rope in vibration with only the fingertip. So he was using PIMA all over the place, on both sides of both sides of his body. That guitar was singing a song back then. Marco did have a sort of rock star existence for many years, going from place to place, giving concerts all over Europe. He even went to America, successfully introducing classical guitar to the Americans. He liked to live the high life and seemed to be always penniless and begging money from rich people he purported to know. His son Caesar received many letters from him, very often asking for money. So he was on a high life. Everything, they made it cost extra because he was there probably. You know how things like, in history, things like Pretty Boy Floyd robbed a bank in the next town, and when he got back home in the next town where he lived, they charged him more and more for where he wanted to hide out. He was probably living that kind of a life also. You understand what I'm saying? In his later years, he wrote in his letters of the pleasures he got from his grandchildren and a regret that he had not had more time with his own children when they were young. He died alone in Pisa, where he went to escape the colder northern climate. Sometimes he just called himself Ferranti. So we talked about Ferranti before. If you really want to know about people like this, here's Ferranti right here. If you really want to know about it and remember it yourself instead of having me tell you, because I may throw in an extra story or something, look it up yourself in Google. Anybody can play guitar. Just look it up yourself. Teach yourself to play guitar. It's easier. Okay, anybody can play guitar. Hey, we got more coming on. Just hang around. So we went over people that deserve another shout out over and over, like Zani Di Ferranti. This is Anybody Can Play Guitar, and this is going to be about Christian Frederick Martin. Born in Germany, an American luthier who specialized in guitars and the founder of C.F. Martin and Company. He made the first guitar in the United States in the 1830s. Okay, early life and career. Born in Martineukirchen in the Electorate of Saxony to a family of cabinet makers, Martin became an apprentice of the guitar maker Johann Georg Stauffer in Vienna, Austria. Martin also became a foreman at Stauffer's workshop. Martin was the second of 5 children and was more commonly known as Friedrich, given the German custom of using the second given name. In Martin's case, 4 of the children's first given names are a derivation of Christian. Okay? As a result of a dispute between the Cabinet Makers Guild, of which Martin was a member, and the Violin Makers Guild, Martin moved to the United States in 1833. The move occurred less than a year after his father, Johann George Martin, died, and being the last alive of Johann George Martin's progeny, he would have been free of familial obligations to immigrate. On arriving in New York City, he set up shop at 196 Hudson Street and the Lower East Side. Hey, 196 Hustler Street, huh? Close. Guitar player, hey. Martin's first workshop based a small production setup in the back room and a retail music store up front. This shop was a forerunner of C.F. Martin and Company, which is still family owned and operated, whose current CEO is C.F. Martin's great-great-great-grandson. At the insistence of his wife, Martin moved the guitar shop in 1838 to Nazareth, Pennsylvania, where it is still located. So get him, go over there, get him Martin, you might get a cheap discount or something. That's about Christian Frederick Martin. Christian Frederick Martin. Go over there. Look him up in Google. Hey, let's talk about it. See you next time.
Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Anybody can play guitar. Just look at me. Don't believe what I say.